Good day, fellows. My name is Ethan, and I am your finance fellow. Today, we're going to be discussing a few things that need to be discussed. What are some of the worst financial decisions I've ever seen? How's it going, guys? If you're new to the show, my name is Ethan, and I am your finance fellow. And I want to make sure that every single person that watches my show or listens to my show reaches financial independence. So please comment on YouTube on the videos. Maybe send me a message through my email, which can be found on our podcasting platform. Make sure that I can get your questions so that whenever people make some stupid decisions, like we're going to be talking about later on, I can be there to make sure that all your answers are answered in a way that benefits you to reach financial independence. Okay, so this video, I wanted to make it for a while because I just thought, these things are funny, they're interesting, but also they're just absolutely ridiculous. So I'm going to start with the first one. This actually is more recent. This is probably within the last 2 years. So for those who don't know, I own my own accounting practice, and I work with small business owners from medium-sized businesses to very small businesses and micro businesses. And there are some really bizarre things I hear. And there are some things that I wish I wouldn't hear, but people saying certain things. And sometimes people bring in credit card statements where they have things that should not be on there. But they show up in my office and we have to do something with it. Regardless, I'm going to talk about two stories that I found to be both entertaining and just absolutely crazy. So to begin with, story one, I gave it a little interesting title, No Retirement. So let's think about the voting public. This story is about a small business owner that I worked with. And he said, hey, I don't have any retirement available to me. I'm going to go apply for this public office. And I'm going to go try to be this public office official for 5 years. Because after I get there for 5 years, then I can get the full government retirement. Guys, do not base your entire retirement on the voting public, because you're going to be very, very, very disappointed. When I heard this information, I said, we could just, start investing. He's like, no, this is the way. This is what we need to do. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to make a rash decision, don't let it be on your retirement, especially to the point where you say, hey, I know for a fact I'm going to be elected in a yearly election for 5 years straight. No problems. Don't worry. I got this. That's bizarre nonsense. Be really smart with what you do have, which is time. With enough time, you can become financially independent no matter where you are in your stage of life. Now, there are times where you may have to work past 65. Maybe you have to work till you're 72. It happens. Just make sure that you get a plan together. Don't just assume that the public is going to be your retirement option. You're going to be very, very disappointed. Second story is buying a business with no information. So that's something that maybe seems a little ludicrous to some, but I've had this happen at least 3 different times in my career. And all 3 times, people got burned. And they got burned badly. So to begin with, I think of this one story. I used to do work for a tire shop thing where they sold tires. You drive in, they change your tires, and right out the way you go. And it was just a little car repair store. And this company, they weren't doing bad, but they were definitely struggling a little bit. They ran losses pretty consistently. Wasn't large losses, but just little losses pretty consistently for several years. And one day they come in and say, hey, someone just bought my business. Okay, who was it? And they told me, and I said, okay, did you have financial statements? Because we didn't give you the financial statements. You didn't ask for it. And he said, no. They just came in and said, hey, I want to buy this. And they bought it. They bought it on an installment sale, which means they'd pay, I think it was 15% of the gross receipts for 5 years. They didn't even last 1 year before they said, hey, we're not making any money. We can't make this payment anymore. You can have it back. At that point, the business reputation had already been ruined because they were trying to make some pretty rash decisions to make this work. But it's dumbfounding to me how you can choose to buy a business when you know nothing about the business. If the business is not profitable and he said, hey, I'm also going to make another $3,500 a month payment, that makes no sense. So just be aware of what you're doing. Don't buy a business without knowing every single thing there is to know about that business. And it's not a rash decision either. This is something that's very, very, very important to understand. Like, hey, yeah, we need to make sure that all this stuff is taken care of. We need to have all these bells and whistles and these RXs crossed and our I's dotted and our T's crossed. And we want to make sure that we have all this figured out before we start buying businesses. Which goes to a little bit of a second issue I've had with this. There was a small company. It had one employee. And this employee was going to buy this construction company. They mainly did concrete. They just did concrete on and concrete and pavement on residential driveways. And this guy said, yeah, I'm going to buy this business. So I said, there's a little bit more planning involved with this one, thank goodness. But not enough play. So he just completely bought the business as is. He bought the equity in the company. Here's the problem. When you buy equity in a company, you are personally responsible for their liabilities. He didn't know it, and he didn't do his research, but this company, the owner, was getting sued because he failed to do a job accurately and caused some major damage to this person's home. And this guy bought this company, bought all the liabilities, and turns out a month later, he gets a letter saying, hey, your court date is this day. And he's like, what court date? And when you know it, he went to court and he lost. And he had to pay some pretty big money to the point where he just shut down the business. Guys, be really, really smart with your buying decisions. This guy paid in this last story, this guy paid a big chunk of change for it. He paid several tens of thousands of dollars for this business. And he lost all of it within just a year. So make sure you know what you're doing whenever you buy a business. So those are two little stories I want to talk about. It's going to be a relatively short video this go around. But I think this little last half here, if you're not interested, I totally understand if you want to drop off here. But I will give you some brief rundown of what this channel is going to be going forward. This channel is going to focus heavily on 2 videos per week, 1 video answering your questions to make sure if you have questions, this is what I tell you, like, comment, subscribe, write your questions, your comments, whatever it may be, to me in some fashion so that I can make sure that you get the most out of your time here listening to my show. Because I want every single one of you to reach financial independence. The only way to do that is if you get your questions answered with someone who has some financial insight that can give you the right ideas so that you can figure out what you need to do. Okay? But this show is going to do 2 videos per week. We're going to release on Sunday and we're going to release on Thursday. We release at 12 a.m. or pretty much the moment that the next day change happens. And we just want to make sure that you're available or that we are available in every platform that you listen and consume media. So we're available on YouTube. We're available on Spotify. We're available on Apple. We're available on, I think it's Podbean. We're available on multiple podcasting platforms to make sure that you can listen to the show whichever way possible. So if you ever have a question, please write it in the comments. I'm going to read every single one of them, guys. I want to be there to make sure that I get every little bit of your information and get all your questions so that I can help you reach financial independence. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Hey, guys, thanks so much for listening to the show. I have a few extra shows available. If you haven't already listened or watched some of these shows that are floating around my head, then I highly encourage you to take the opportunity, click one of these videos, find something that helps you reach financial independence tax-free. Or maybe you just want to ask a simple question of bonds versus 401ks. Is that a financial showdown or what?